Iller, and I live in Redding, California. We flew out here last Friday. This is the first show for this airplane. In fact, we only have 24 hours on it, total time since the restoration was complete. And as usual, we were working till almost midnight the night before we left, trying to get it ready, even though we'd figured we'd be ready a month before we'd actually leave. Anyway, the airplane is a 1958 Cessna 310. It was a stock production airplane. It never served in the military. And we shopped around for at least 2 years trying to find a good airframe to do this kind of a project with. When you do something this extensive, you need a foundation to start with. The basic thing, that it had to be clean, and we did want to do a military type and start looking around, and one of a friend of mine said, you know, they had these in the Navy, and I said, I can't confirm that. He said, oh yeah, I saw them. So we checked around, and finally Pensacola, the Air Museum there, confirmed that the Navy in fact did have 3, and I'm sorry, 4. 3 they got from the Air Force, 1 from the Army. And in fact, this was even after we went to Cessna to try and find out what the history was with the Navy, and they said as far as they knew, the Navy had never taken delivery of any. Well, I was going to have a Navy Blue 310 regardless, but as it turned out, the squadron that we chose, VX-9, they actually flew these out of China Lake and Point Mugu, California.
Okay, I gotta switch tapes. Oh, not good that they're burning, but good that we both had to stop. Yeah, I gotta have you look. And let's just pick her up right where we left off.
Well, the Navy paint job, of course, when we did it, I was concerned that I was going to get a lot of people walk up to me and they were, why would you paint a perfectly good airplane in those colors? Well, after the show today, and the comments that we've gotten from people, very definitely painted it the right color. And besides that, it pleases me. But I think one of the important things about the Warbird movement is that there is a level that everybody can participate. At first, I am an EAA member and have been for some time. I won a grand champion here in 1994 with an experimental, and then later on that same year with at Oshkosh. And much of what I learned, I thought, we can translate this into a production airplane, do something unusual, and show people that you can take an old rust bucket production airplane and bring it up into something that's quite attractive, and again, a lot of fun to do. It's not a quickie deal. It took 3.5 years and about 5,000 man-hours to finish this project, and some aspects of it aren't complete yet. We're still working on it. Most of that is just hard labor, but the Warbirds, support these projects, and you know right away that they appreciate what you've done, because when the judges come around, the look on their face and their comments tell you pretty quickly that you've done something right. And to run with these guys is a real privilege. Thank God we have many of our members that have enjoyed greater or lesser success, and the ones who have the financial means to restore these big birds like the Mustangs, and of course Frank Borman's King Cobra, which was absolutely marvelous. If these people didn't do this, my grandkids, your kids, and me, we'd never see these things in the air. And they're flying pieces of history. So this is my contribution to what I could afford to do, and I tried to do it to the standards of excellence that the EAA and the Warbirds encourage. And this excellence goes not just to a pretty face, but underneath, the safety features, the quality of the assembly and restoration, and also pilot standards to make sure that when we fly these birds that we are properly trained.
Talk a little about the restoration of this particular aircraft. Where did you get it? How did it look when you got it? What did you have to do to get it?
Well, 2 years of searching, I opened the hangar one day, and this, to my surprise, was the airplane sitting outside my hangar. And I jumped on my motorcycle and drove over and stopped the guy before he got off the wing. And I said, "Sir, did you ever consider selling your airplane?" And he said, "Yes. Just last night my wife and I were talking about it." And he looked down at my motorcycle and he said, "You know, it's not worth, probably not worth as much as your motorcycle." I knew right then I could afford this project. Anyway, we stripped it down to bare metal, pulled the landing gear completely out, and totally demated the airplane down to its basic parts. And then started back up detailing each piece, plating. Now, correction there, we don't plate anything. We polish everything, the stainless, the aluminum, paint, brand new nuts and bolts, brand new plumbing, everything first class, better than new when possible.
Talk a little about performance, landing and cruising and takeoff speeds.
The airplane, well, we flew it out here from California, and we averaged around 250 miles an hour, and that was with, you know, like a 50-knot tailwind. The airplane typically cruises at 200 miles an hour. And it's up to a 5-place, but we have it configured for 4 very comfortably. The engines are 240 horse carbureted Continentals, which are quite miserly on their fuel burn. In fact, at 10,000 feet, we burn about 22 gallons an hour doing 200 miles an hour. The inside, of course, was all done custom, and took 3 leather hides to complete it and finish it off. We use parts from late model airplanes to improve not only the comfort but function of the airplane. And a friend of mine, which should be mentioned here, Herbie Gilkin, saw one of my early projects, and he was a car builder and also a contributing editor to Hot Rod magazine. He says, "I didn't know you could do that with an airplane." Well, he went out and got himself a project, and he finished it, and the first year he showed it at Oshkosh, 1988, he won Grand Champion. So the people I've associated myself with have also been an inspiration.
special things, you mentioned the wheels or something before.
Is there anything special about this plane?
Well, there's
compared to-
yeah, there's two things. One is okay. Let's take it up. You know, one of the areas that people you know, really comment on are the detail on the landing gear, the gear wells, and the way I've always looked at this particular area of any aircraft, it's the foundation. So if you're going to start a restoration on any airplane, start with what it's going to sit on. Do it the best you can do it. Do whatever detail work at whatever level you're comfortable with, and get it back on its wheels. From that point on, you have a rolling project that you can do little things at a time and not be quite so disabled. The actual gear detail took about 6 months, and mostly labor, not so much cost, but every part that involved the landing gear was removed and detailed to its highest degree. Inside the airplane, one of the areas that I enjoy the most, and that's designing and building instrument panels. And
You stopped it right there. I apologize. Okay, one of the interesting things about the instrument panel.
well, the instrument panel is one of the areas that I enjoy the most. I kind of specialize in it, and I make mock-ups, and I also set people who fly professionally. I set them down in the seat, and I ask them, I said, you know, what would you like in a panel? If you could have anything you want at all, you know, where do you want these switches? How would you like the radios? What kind of instruments? And then once I had a pretty good consensus of the quote-unquote perfect panel, I went to work with the layout, the markings, the color, the instrument fit, the lighting, and we have some other talents out in Reading, and a young man who has gotten into panel engraving. He paints and bakes the panels and then engraves through the surface paint, and that's what you see as a full relief for like the T section, the outlining, all of the placards, everything that's in the airplane. There's no stick on, everything is engraved.